So we share also a deep love for nature, and nature is for you also a deep practice to
Yes.
go into nature and to be impacted by that deep relationship that you have developed with nature, and you also help others
Right.
to do the same in your leadership processes. What happened to you? I'm thinking in particular of this first very big journey to Baja in
Oh,
Mexico. Give us a sense of what happened to you personally in that nature experience.
yeah. That was perhaps the most powerful single experience I ever had in my life, no matter what I was doing. It the background is that I was in a meeting in Boston with Brian Arthur, Peter Senge, Otto Scharmer, two McKinsey partners, and Otto and I were explaining to them what we had done in a project in Shell that resulted in the discovery of the U process. And we were debriefing that, and at dinner that night, I was seated next to Brian Arthur. I call it Brian Arthur's U process because he's the one that told Otto and me about these coordinates. And I was sitting next to Brian, and just the moment I sat down, he turned to me, and he didn't ask me, he instructed me. He said, "Joseph, in February you need to go on a sacred passage with me in nature." And immediately it was one of those direct knowings. I had a full calendar in February. I said, "I'll be there." I had no idea where, what it would look like, or anything, but I just had this knowing, and I said, "I'll be there." So I showed up, and it was a 14-day nature, what the leader, John Milton, called a sacred passage. He had taught me Qigong, and to do the Qigong practices twice a day, to meditate, and to do certain rituals that are a combination of Native American and Tibetan rituals to honor nature. And I did all of those religiously on the beach, and also to do a 24-hour sort of preliminary vision quest where you draw an 8-foot circle and you don't leave that circle for 24 hours in the American Indian tradition. I did that, and in the midst of it, in the middle of the night, like, well, you don't have a watch, so you don't know, maybe 1 or 2 in the morning, gale force wind came up. Well, I found out later it was about 60 miles an hour, 70 mile an hour wind, and I'm standing in this circle with this surf pounding right at my feet. And I stayed there, miserable, but when I finished the vision quest, I was deeply disappointed because nothing happened. I expected to have some revelation or some new knowing, and there was nothing, and I just was disgusted. I felt that I'd somehow made a mistake in the way that I was handling myself, and I changed my clothes from the wet clothes and went up on this cliff nearby and was contemplating, and the beauty of this place is that about 10 meters out from where the beach ends, it drops off to 200, 300 meters. So the whales can come right up to the beach there and right up to that cliff I was on. And I was thinking and sort of trying to reflect and make sense over what had happened. And suddenly in front of me, two enormous gray whales, shot up, full-grown whales, shot up out of the air as if they were shot from torpedoes or something. And they rose up in the air all the way, and they hung there, and then seemingly slowly, without a splash, went down in the water again. And about a minute later, the same thing. Two whales right in front of me. And then a third time, pow! And I fell on the ground, just sobbing, just sobbing uncontrollably. And I thought they were gone. And about a minute later, they started on the left side of me like two porpoises. And they were going like this 17 times in the water right in front of me, in unison in this beautiful dance. And then everything was silent, and I was just sobbing there because of the connection I had with the whales, and because they were such lovely creatures. And I was praying, saying, dear God, don't let anything happen to these whales. Help them survive. And in that moment, I knew that I had to contribute myself. And I didn't know exactly how or what that was going to be, but it was an absolute, unqualified knowing that I was going to do something to make a difference in the world.
On our website globalleadership.tv, you will find additional footage, other dialogues with innovation leaders from around the world, and also the hands-on practices that help them and their organizations to move from inspiration to real change.